All information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. You should consider the appropriateness of this information with regards to your individual objectives, financial situation, and needs. Welcome to Sharing More Than the Sheets, a podcast to help you and your partner make better financial and lifestyle decisions so that you can both focus on the things that you love. I'm your host, Michael Khouri, financial planner, green thumb, husband, and just dad. This segment is called Michael's Magic Moment. It's my opportunity to play a little snippet from one of our previous episodes, which resonated with our listeners, that I received feedback from, or I felt really had an impact on some people's lives. Hope you enjoy.
As an advisor, I regularly talk to people about the importance of managing their own money and looking after their own future. But what about those around you? Today, I wanted to really talk about the importance of giving, the importance of helping others, and the importance of providing for our neighbors, providing for those around us that we see on a daily basis. I've invited Daniel Matbouly to the podcast show, who is the founder and president of Serving Our People. Serving Our People is a charity based on the Gold Coast, but they serve people all around Brisbane, and I think other parts of Queensland as well. But I'll let Yas probably get into that and explain it a bit more to you for those that haven't heard about the charity. But Yas, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Michael.
It's if it's when I first came across your charity and I saw about and I discovered what you actually do. The more and more I looked into it, the more I realized that what you do it's very diverse. Like it's you help lots of different types of people. You do lots of different types of things for many different parts of Queensland. But for those that haven't heard about the charity, could you maybe explain a little bit about that?
Sure. Look, so we're a general charity. So that means we help people from all different walks of life. We started in 2020 because of the pandemic. And our main aim at the time when we started was just to make sure that we deliver much needed items to the elderly who were stuck at home at the time, and ensuring that that they get whatever they needed and whenever they needed it, and also for everybody else who was at high risk of getting COVID at the time. And from there, we've progressed to we unfortunately had after that the flooding, which we played a very big part and very big role in that. And then after that, now we're playing again another role in the addressing food insecurity and due to the rising cost of living and other reasons. As a charity, we went in from a small charity to a large charity in 3 years. We've been named one of Australia's fastest growing charities, and I believe that's because there's an immense need of our services. We are predominantly a delivery and logistics charity and emergency relief. And at the moment, as I said earlier, we're addressing food insecurity, and we've got a campaign called Feeding Our People, which is in partnership with, or we're in discussion at the moment with Food Bank to have them on board as well to support us with this campaign, which they've said they have interest to support us. And that will probably be the largest food insecurity campaign in Southeast Queensland and Northern New South Wales. And we're hoping to reach to take what we have at the moment in our headquarters in the Gold Coast, which is the free supermarket, or we call the People's Market. We're hoping to take the People's Market out to the people in different councils, in different suburbs, in different areas, ensuring that they don't have to go through the struggle to get to travel from as far as Ipswich to the Gold Coast to pick up some food and head back to their homes. And we've had obviously individuals who have done that, and they got to us by around midday after catching public transport and then heading back to their families to have enough food for the night just on time. So we're seeing a very concerning number of individuals coming into our premises and asking for assistance. Last week alone, we've seen as much as almost 600 individuals. That's almost 30,000 people a year. These are very, very high numbers. We're hoping with the Feeding Our People campaign, we'll be able to even reach out to people and go to their suburbs and speak to them in different areas. And that campaign, we're really looking at, if we do it the way that we need to do it, we will ensure that, hundreds of thousands are looked after every single year, and close to about 1.1 million recipients will be looked after throughout that period. So it's 45 locations across the city of Ipswich, Brisbane, Logan, Gold Coast, and the Northern River cities. So that's what we've been busy with, and that's what we're working on. And our delivery and logistics side of the charities is just getting more and more and stronger in many different levels. And we're looking for more. We're looking for more vans. We're looking for more cars. We're looking for more food, non-perishable items in our free supermarket regularly, and we can never have enough of that. We've actually did a media call out not long ago because we ran out of food in our supermarket, and we're a self-funded charity at the moment. We have a couple of the local councils have supported us, but we haven't got anything else apart from that, and on very small amounts. But mainly we're funded through corporate organizations who help us and donate either their time to volunteer with us or give us a donation. Now, just to give you an idea, to run the People's Market, the free supermarket, it's $10,000 of food a week. So that's around $500 and something thousand a year, $520,000 a year, or a bit more. Yeah. So, it's not, these things cost money to look after people. And I understand that, the team and I do a lot of work relentlessly to ensure that the members of our community are looked after. And I want to, send a message out to everyone that if they're looking for a platform to help people or to volunteer, in whatever capacity that is, we're happy to have friends involved and with us to be able to help the community in the best way possible.
You've mentioned there's an increasing number of people approaching your charity, going to the store, basically saying, "Hey, we need help. Please help us." Is that because more people are finding out about the charity, or do you think there's a bit of a trend at the moment of people doing it tough and finding it hard? Because we always talk about in Australia how lucky we are to be a country where there's government support, and there's I think Australia's a land of opportunity as well. So the question I just ask and I've met, and I know that there are many people that are struggling, but for those listening to this thinking, well, where are these people? What would you say to that, and why is there more and more of them? Do they exist? Are they maybe friends that we see every day that we probably don't realize are actually struggling, or is it those that really don't really go out into the community and sort of don't socialize and don't do anything, so we don't really see that they're struggling?
So it's both. To answer your question, I think that there's people are starting to get to know a little bit more about serving our people, and then following on from that, I think the numbers are increasing immensely. Look, we used to get about 80 people in the supermarket a week. Now we're getting 600. So yes, they know about us, but I don't think it's going to be to the level that it went in from 80 to 600. And to come here, there is a process to get the food. You got to see somebody, you got to talk to somebody, you got to register your details, and then you get given 15 allocated 15 items, which includes bread, unlimited fruits and vegetables, shared meals, cooked meals, frozen meals, and then you get non-perishable items to choose from the supermarket as well. The process it's easy, but it's not very easy. So there is some sort of a process behind it, and you speak to a volunteer or one of our members here that you have a conversation with once you get here. So obviously they identify how else we can help, and if there's another charity that we know that can assist even more than what we can in one way or another. So to go through that process, you wouldn't come to this process unless you really are in desperate need and are needing help. And to answer the other question that you said was, people are embarrassed to be seen or being seen asking for help in many different levels. So when they come to us, it's obviously a very safe space. They feel good about being here, and we're able to help them straight away. And we've seen in many different occasions where some of our recipients have said, "You're the only charity that have been able to help me with what I needed because of something or other." Look, all charities are doing great jobs. Every single charity is doing an amazing job, and honestly, it's something that other people are not willing to take on. So I think we should commend, and really commend all charities for all the amazing work that they're doing and helping all the community in many different levels, which, as I said, other people are not willing to do. And they're also taking off a big load off the government and many other, institutions. The reality of it, though, is that some people are also not qualified they might have a job, but they still can't make ends meet. So they're not qualified for Centrelink or anything like that. They might have, they're trying to get additional work or whatever the case is. I mean, we've had a young mom who had a great job, was in retail, had her own business. She never ever thought she'd be in this situation that she's in at the moment, but she's homeless and living in a tent in Southport, and doesn't have any funds to support herself, and then she's got all her stuff in her car. Again, escaping a situation that she went through, and now she's on the streets. So there are many cases, and there are many stories I could share, and young children who are going to school without breakfast, and we're helping a lot of those schools as well to get much needed, nourishment to the schools on time, and to make sure that they get what they need for schools, all in areas, across the Gold Coast, Brisbane, and Logan. So we have cancer patients who've come to us who are struggling with cancer and trying to survive with the treatments through chemo. But what it is that, again, there was a young mom who had got cancer. She ended up she lost her job. She ended up struggling in her marriage as well throughout this process. And she had as a mom who obviously wanted to look after her children, she had to make a choice of, do I continue getting chemotherapy sessions and get a treatment to get better, or do I pay for the food for my children and to make sure that they looked after? So it was, and we obviously went in there and jumped in at the right time to try to help her to make sure that she gets both and more. And she ended up having a small debt because of her medical bills were getting too high. So I think there isn't a question that in Australia where the salaries are not very high, and I think everybody could probably agree on that. And there isn't also a question that the disparity between rich and poor is increasing. And I think the other aspect of it is that we need to kind of make sure for our economy to be successful is to ensure that the middle class of our society is doing well. Because they're the ones that are starting up businesses. They're the ones that are employing people. They're the ones that are flourishing in many different levels. And then what's happening is at the moment, if they're not able to make ends meet and they're falling in, that are not even able to right now to support their families one way or another, and the quality of life is not there, then really it does affect the families from a mental health perspective, first and foremost. And then everything else starts spiraling down from there.
These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a free 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au.
No, it is true. And also, I've met many people over the years in similar situations that they are struggling. And what I do find is, it's normally something that is the result, it's not the result of something else, but it's something occurs in their life, or a circumstance, or sometimes they could grow up in a particular circumstance which just has like a bit of a carry-on effect. It could be something like just an event like being diagnosed with something like cancer, but it could also be just family circumstances. Sometimes it's out of their control. And I feel with what you do, like food is obviously such an essential need in our lives as human beings. It's one of the basic needs. And I feel like by filling that gap, or by helping people fill that gap, it makes such a difference to their lives. And you've mentioned some of this already, but can I ask personally, why do you do what you do? Like, why did you set up the charity? Why did you, can you maybe, is there a bit of a story behind it, or is there a bit of a journey that you personally went through as well? Or was it more of just a moment where you're like, I just have to do something about this. It just needs to happen.
My story is my story. It goes back, obviously it goes back look, I think first and foremost, at the time when this has happened, and COVID time was, there was a lot of recipients who were needing help. I think it was just about really not sitting at home and doing something. And I didn't want to sit at home and do nothing and to help others. I felt very fortunate at that time in many different levels. And I wanted to really, I still feel fit and healthy, and I feel great. And sports has been a big part of my life always. And so I wanted to kind of get up and do something and help the elderly who were really, I saw them struggling, picking up, carrying their trolleys across the street to go into the supermarket because they had to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning, and because that's the only time they could pick up, items, and they would get to certain areas in the supermarket and they'll feel helpless because there was no items on the shelves and so on and so forth. So I think, look, in Australia, we're very compassionate, and we're a compassionate nation, and that's one of the most beautiful things about our country is that everybody really cares about others, and we want to be there to help. And you can see that during, the flooding time. You can see that during, even now with the rising cost of living, people are always willing to help in any way they can. If they had, 2 pieces of bread, they'll give one to help others. So they're, from that perspective, I think we're all really care about each other. We are on an island at the end of the day, all of us, and we're, but we look after each other really well. That's that. For me, it was really to just get up and do something during COVID, and wanted to make sure that others were not left stranded. And before you know it, I had many people who wanted to jump on board and help out, and there was people from my work at the time. I was in property development, and then I had people from my basketball team, people from everywhere. Everybody started jumping on board and wanted to help and to do whatever they can. And I think it was also, nobody wanted to sit at home at that time. So, it was a good escape for us to kind of be out in the street and helping out rather than sitting at home during COVID. And then now we're over, we're getting about 80 volunteers a month at the moment into the charity. We're about over 2,100, 2,200 volunteers, and still growing. And obviously people are, and I think one of the things that you're seeing from a lot of volunteers, that they love being part of serving our people, is because they're able to see what we're doing in the grassroots level. They're able to help recipients, firsthand. And talk to them and find out exactly how they can help them. And some of our volunteers have been able to help our recipients in so many levels. It's just, we have this saying in our, that we've kind of adopted is that helping one person might not change the whole world, but it could change the world for one person. And that's so true, because, there's what it does to one person's life is unbelievable. I mean, today we're seeing a man who's in a couple of hours who have lost his teeth because of being abused as a child by his dad and beaten up to the point that his teeth are not growing. his teeth got broken and they're not growing anymore, right? In terms of, it wasn't even baby teeth. It was like, more of a youth. So he's had to live most of his life without teeth. And obviously, that has affected him, his confidence, affected many different things. And today we've spoken to a dentist that we know, and they've gracefully and generously donated to give him, a new set of teeth, and to help him, obviously, to help him to get a job, to help him to be more presentable, and to build his confidence up a little bit as well. It's just a combination of things. When something like this happens to you, obviously you're going to feel that you're not loved, because if this is happening from your own father, then, the person that you go to for safety and love as a family member. And we're seeing, Michael, a lot of this originates back to the family unit. And if the family unit is not, one that has been provided to a lot of our recipients in many different levels, it does affect, and it goes all the way back from, we can't say that it's this fault guy that, this person